Thank you. I've started the recording. There's probably another 30 seconds to go, and then we'll start. For those who joined late, obviously, and not familiar with our run order, this is our team announcement for the team. The Springbok team will play against the All Blacks in the final Castle Lager Rugby Championship match in Brisbane this coming Saturday. And joining us this evening, Brisbane time and morning in South Africa, is Jacques Nienaber, the head coach, and the vice captain Handre Pollard. So the run order, Jacques will announce the team. We'll open the floor for questions, and then we'll proceed and go up until about 20 past. We'll pause, and then we will welcome Oxen Chair and Stephen Kitsoff. Well, good, Jacques. Ready to go. You are now most welcome to announce the Springbok team that will play against New Zealand this coming Saturday at the Seabus Stadium. Thank you.
Good morning, good evening, everyone. Sorry, our signal isn't brilliant. So if there is issues and we maybe can't hear, it's just because our Wi-Fi signal isn't great where we are currently. Okay, so the team to play New Zealand in the last test of this rugby championship, there's only two additions or changes in the squad. The first one is Ox Nietzsche is coming in at Lucet starting, and then Trevor Nyakane, who played Lucet last weekend, are moving to Tighthead for the injured Frans Malherbe. And then the only other change is Jasper Wiese coming in on the bench straight into for Marco van Staden, who's also picked up an injury. Other than that, it's the same team.
Thank you very much, Jacques. Right, ladies and gents, there you have it. Those changes you will be able to see on your media release that will land in your inbox within the next couple of seconds. Right, by a show of hands, please indicate to me your intention to ask a question. There's a couple already, so we'll kick off with Jan de Koning.
Dankie Ryan, dankie Andre, dankie Jacques. Jacques, if we can start, obviously changes at this stage is probably not a bad thing. I know we never want injuries, but it gives some guys a break. It refreshes the team in general.
So you're asking changes or swapping players in? Is that what you're asking? Hey?
No, say the positive of injuries is it means it gives other people a chance.
Sorry. Like I said, the reception is not great. Obviously it's nice to. It's nice to get Ox back into the mix, and it's sad to see France. France is such an experienced player for us in terms of tight end. So it's sad to see France go, but that's the nice thing. But I guess the positive is getting Ox back into the mix. Obviously, this front row, Ox, Bongi, and Trevor started the first test against the British and Irish Lions, and then unfortunately Ox had an injury to his neck, so that probably set him back a bit. But super excited to get him back into the mix, and obviously we have a lot of belief in Ox, and just that change just shows you the value of a guy like Trevor Nyakane. He's been wonderful for us at Tighthead in various test matches from 2018, and then he was phenomenal in the British and Irish Lions series when Ox got injured, swapping over, and now he's back into Tighthead again.
Thank you, Jacques. We say hello to Lloyd Bernard.
Thanks, Ray, and how's it, guys? Jacques, was there a temptation for kind of wholesale changes when you were thinking about this? Obviously, with the tournament, over in terms of competing for titles and with an eye towards 2023, I suppose a few of us would have expected, more kind of changes, whether it be experimentation or giving guys valuable minutes in a test match like that with an eye towards the future. Were you tempted at all to mix it up a bit more?
No, I won't say necessarily when we play number 1 and 2 in the world. Yes, obviously we will One of our strategic goals is to create squad depth, but also the biggest one is to win. So whenever we have the opportunity to give our, if I can put it like that, our rotational players a little bit more exposure into test matches, we would do that. But obviously missing out on so much test match rugby in 2020 due to COVID. I mean, I feel as a team we need to get back to the standard we were in 2019, and I still believe we're still building towards that. So from that perspective, no, I think when you play number 1 and 2 in the world, you play your best possible team available.
Thank you, Jacques. Nathan Gogela, you're up next.
Thank you, Ray. I will start with Handre. Handre, there've been a lot of talks by pundits and analysts as well. Is it part of the strategy to get the ball, gain some momentum just before the 22 of the opponent, and then kick the ball?
Then, yeah, we've got a specific soul and DNA in this team, which we believe we are the best at. We trust our process, we trust our plan. Of course, it is a bit different to do stuff like that, but that's sort of the plan we had for last week's test match, and the boys stuck to it very well. And I think it's an area of the game, the aerial contest, where we really think we are the best at in the world, and it's something we really work hard at. And I think we'll keep doing it going forward, definitely, because we trust that process and we trust our plan. It's a bit unorthodox, I guess, but we believe in it.
And then for Jacques, then there were two talking points: personnel and the strategy. Basically, you kept the personnel the same, or the strategy stayed the same. I mean, because you've lost 3 on the trot with the same strategy.
Yeah, I think one must always look at it objectively. You know, I think I think we could have probably managed 2 games, the first Australian test match and last week's test match. We could have probably managed a little bit better at the back end of the game. Maybe could have changed or made a few subs from our perspective, from a coaching perspective. We could have get some new energy or some a lift of energy a little bit quicker in the team. Yeah, so stuff like that. Will we change the strategy? Yes, it depends on what New Zealand does. You know, if New Zealand change their strategy and the way they defend and the way they do things, and they give us space in a different area in the field, obviously we'll take it. But if they load the front line with 14 defenders and only 1 at the back, I mean, then obviously the space is probably going to be at the back. And our ability to adapt to that, adapt to what picture they are painting for us, is going to be the key. Yeah, so it depends on where they give us space. Our option will always be to attack space, and sometimes attacking space will be by keeping ball in hand because there's space in front of you in the front line, and sometimes space will be on the edge. Then you have to have a passing game to outflank them, and sometimes the space is in behind them, and then you must unfortunately utilize the kicking game to get into that space. So I think rugby will always stay the same in terms of that, is you try and attack space, and you also try and attack space with what you feel you're good at, you know, your DNA as a team. And yeah, like Andre said, we feel that is our DNA. That's what we are good at, and yes, we can't hide away from it. We lost 3 games on the trot now, but like I say, I feel we were in the first Australian test match and in this last game, we were within 2 to 3 minutes to go, we were in a position to win those games. Yes, we spoke about that, and we can still grow and improve in terms at managing that department. And it's not just players, it's management as well.
Thank you, Jacques. Craig Lewis.
Thanks, Ray. How's it, guys? Jacques, just quickly on Cheslin Colby, how close was he to selection this week, and how frustrating has it been to not have one of your best players available for the whole time you've been in Australia?
Yeah, no, listen, he was so to give you a little bit of feedback on Cheslin. So obviously he got injured in that booster week we had in the Friday session where we almost had a game simulation. So he picked up a little bit of injury there, and it's a 4 to 6 week injury. And we obviously went through the whole rehab process, and part of returning to playing is you participate in training sessions. Obviously, last week maybe non-contact sessions and limited exposure to the training sessions. And then this week was more exposure, getting him through more contact, getting him comfortable with it. And it works not only with Cheslin, all our players like that. And the moment the player doesn't feel comfortable, or we can see from a coaching point of view, listen, he's not functional yet as we know him, then it's just he will still train tomorrow again. He will still train the whole week with us until we see functionally he's good enough. He's confident enough and in his ability, and then we will reintroduce him back into a game. Yes, and it would have been nice to have Cheslin back to play this weekend. But yes, full confident in Cebu. Cebu has been excellent for us since 2018 when we came back. Myself, Rassie, we came back from Munster. I mean, we gave him his first test match against England. So at some good times with Cebu, and he's been excellent for us.
Right, Heinz Schenk.
Thanks, Rayan. Good evening, gents. I hope you're well. Just a question for Handre. We know you guys really aren't looking for excuses and stuff, but I'm just wondering, when there comes criticism, of, for example, last weekend's 10 minutes of play, do you think, Handre, perhaps that outsiders actually tend to underestimate, some other factors? I mean, the fact of the matter is you guys were under pressure. You guys did lose 2 in a row against the Wallabies, so sometimes it is difficult to just, go and play what's in front of you, when there is this whole awareness of, this might be a must win, we actually, have to almost recover from a lower base of confidence and stuff. And is that sometimes just easier than, easier said than done, actually, what I wanted to ask, Andre, just from a player's perspective?
No, good question. Of course, losing a couple in a row, you would think that it will dent your confidence. But the thing is with our team is we have so much belief in our process, and we get confidence from preparation, and we get confidence from each other. And our plan is that we don't really look back at even results. Even if you won the previous week, we just put all our energy and focus into our plan. That's what gives us confidence. We give confidence to each other, the way we speak, the way we train. And then on Saturday, you just go execute as best as you can. Of course, there's a couple of decisions here and there you would like to have back, but that's rugby. And I think our boys have been brilliant. Yes, we've lost a few on the trot, but the intent, the energy, the preparation, we still train exactly the same process, same quality. The results on this go not going our way, but we'll give out everything on Saturday just like every weekend.
Thank you, Andre and Heinz. Percy, I acknowledge you. I assume that you want to ask questions in Afrikaans later on. If that's not the case, let me know. We proceed to Ganyeso.
Good evening, gents. Jacques, this one's for you. You guys have been in a bubble from pretty much and we're now end of September. How much do you have left in the tank just to play, to see out this week and the rest after this?
No, I think there's excitement. It's a good question. I think there's excitement, the fact that it's almost at its end, and I think the challenge for us is to make sure that we are 2 feet in Australia when we go onto that pitch, because sometimes I've been in Super Rugby teams where you get at the back end of a long tour where you're almost 1 foot in South Africa, 1 foot in Australia or New Zealand, So it's going to be critical for us to be in the now. But yes, it's been long, and it does take some getting used to. And I had a funny conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and I asked him, just think back at the 5 weeks that we were in hard lockdown in South Africa, just when COVID started, we just were confined to our houses. And then when level 4 got announced, you could go out between 6 and 9, and poof, everybody was athletes, everybody was walking. And just think yourself back into how you felt in your house where you were. We were pretty much like that. And I'm not throwing excuses. It's just an interesting conversation we had. And sometimes one forget how it felt back then where you were just sitting in your house. And that's pretty much how we were now for, I would say, for 14, 15 weeks. Yes, this last 3 weeks, we actually are in Australia, and you can move around. You can go and have a coffee, and you can leave the hotel. And that's been awesome. It's almost like normal, or probably a little bit of a new normal. But yeah, no, it is something getting used to. It's something getting used to having a bigger squad. I had a conversation today with our non-players. They've been awesome. It's tough to be, normally you would only manage 5 or 6 players that's not starting, but now that they are sitting in front of you, it's a full team. And you have to have them there because it's so tough to get people back in, to get people into your bubble. So it's been good learnings, I think, from my side in terms from a coach's perspective, good learnings from a player's perspective. It's something completely new. So there was a lot of learnings in terms of handling this new COVID environment that we are in. And like I said, it's been different. It's certainly something that I couldn't get there was no way to prepare for this from my side. It is just something that you have to learn as you go through it.
Thank you.
And again, no excuses, please.
Thank you, Jacques. And we'll fit in 2 more questions, and then we'll go to Afrikaans before we conclude. Right, Ashfaq Mohammed.
Thanks, Ryan. Hi, Jacques. Hi, Handre. Jacques, just on that bubble life, we saw today reports saying that the All Blacks, in fact, all 4 of you guys, teams, have to stay now sort of in, not isolation, but stay in a hotel because there's some outbreak in Queensland. Is that correct?
Yes, to be 100% sure, Ashfaq, I haven't seen. I was just now when we were at dinner. Somebody said they saw that it's in the news, but I don't know what is the facts around that. No, so I'm not sure.
Okay. Just I wanted to actually ask you about after the game. I said about that last penalty where Willie was caught there. That I felt that there was that was a sort of a debatable decision. And seeing it again, it was clear there was no release from the tackler. Did you guys find that out in your review? And then secondly, just in terms of the progress of the team, I know initially when you guys came in with Rassie, the plan was 2023 World Cup, in fact, to win that and grow the team to that point. You obviously won 2019. Where do you feel is the growth of the team now in 2021, going 2 years to the next World Cup?
Okay, I'm going to start with the second one first. So yes, the growth. Like I said, I think the big thing for us when I got appointed in January in 2020, the 2 big things that we were aiming for was the British and Irish Lions series, and it was obviously the World Cup. Saying that all the other tournaments are important, but those were the big ones that we had to put our focus on. And the British and Irish Lions purely because it's literally something that will probably in our lifetimes as coaches and players, you will only be there once, and so that was a big thing. And if the country does, if your country do win that, then obviously I won't say bragging rights, but I mean that's something nobody can take away from you for the next 12 years until you have to play or meet the British and Irish Lions again. So that was the first focus, and then the second focus is the World Cup, and where we are currently. Like I said previously, I think we in 2020, I thought, okay, listen, we're going to start building, we're going to start evolving and almost get our foundation back, what we had in the World Cup, and then start evolving in different departments and see where things go. We were playing Scotland, Georgia, and that first test series. or the incoming tours, but then COVID struck. So then we had no international games for, I can say, for 18 months. And then we went into the British and Irish Lions, and we had to find a way to try and get a result there. So I think, and I'm honest, I think we are still building up to where we were in 2019. I mean, again, what this series or this last 3 games have taught us, or taught me personally, is that, listen, what is our DNA? What are we good at? What pressure points do we need to, or what areas do we have to apply pressure on to try and get results that suits our players, our style of play, our athletic ability of our players. And the moment we veer off that, if that foundation isn't there, I mean, we struggle to impose our form of play on the opposition. So it was clear as day for me. So we still trying to get that back. And I think, obviously, going into 2022, if we have opportunity to maybe rotate, and I don't want to say rotate, but if we can get more test experience into our rotational group, if I can put it like that, we would like to do that. The one positive of COVID is that we almost, our academy group, the younger guys, the Grobbelaars, the Fassis, the Grant Williams, Jaden Hendricks, the younger guys who's coming into the mix, we had an opportunity to have them with us now. And not necessarily always play them, but the environment won't be new to them. So when we have to press on their button going forward, and even probably more so for the guy going into 2027. I mean, there won't be this massive void, hopefully, because these guys would now have been part of us. They know how the system works. They know how we do our reviews. They know how the weekly structure works. So that's probably a positive of COVID, is that we had the ability with the extended size of the squad to get some to get that group with us. Because if it wasn't COVID, we would probably be 28 or 30 players on this tour. But now we started out with 42, 43, and then there was an unfortunate, there was a couple unfortunate, how can I say, personal issues which got a few players out. But yeah, I think that's where we are in terms of building to 2023. It is still, I would say, our big aim is 2023. Yeah, I think on that last breakdown that you spoke, I think we could have done better. Like you said, we had 2 players there. Look, I thought, yeah, we should have done better there. And yeah, those 2 players, I'm not saying they're to fault, but I thought we could have handled that situation better. It's not, we don't want to put it in the referee's hands to make a decision there. We must be good enough to sort it out ourselves. And so we had an internal look at that breakdown, and we gave ourselves the blame for it. We must be better in that department.
But what do you do if the referee makes a wrong call? Because it seemed a clear no release from the tackler. So the penalty should have gone the other way. But okay.
Yeah, yes, Ashfaq, yeah, that we can't control. So again, on the referees, I mean, no referee goes out to make mistakes. Just as no player goes out to make a mistake, just as no coach or management member goes out to make a mistake. And I'm not saying he did make a mistake, he did not make a mistake. He saw a picture in live, a play, which is a split second that he has to make a decision. And that we can't control. We can only control what we do and how we handle that. And maybe the picture that we paint can be a little bit more dominant. And that's pretty much, I can't... we don't have control over the decisions the referees make. They make decisions just like we make decisions. Sometimes we make the wrong ones. So yeah, but I get your point.
Thanks for that, Jacques. Now, Percy, you've been waiting patiently. Ek neem aan Afrikaanse vraag, een op 'n slag asseblief. Dankie. Aan wie is jou eerste vraag?
Jan, ek sê vir jou baie dankie vir die geleentheid, meneer. My eerste vraag gaan aan afrigter Jacques Nienaber gaan, en dan sal ek baie graag 'n vraag vir Handre Pollard word vra. Jacques, net kortliks, ek gaan baie eenvoudig hou, is 'n tweeledige vraag. Net kortliks, wat hoop julle om uit hierdie toets teen die All Blacks te kry? Van my kollega het nou voorheen 'n vraag gevra, was dit dalk 'n geleentheid vir Jacques Nienaber gewees om moontlik sy diepte juiste toets teen die nommer 1 span in die wêreld hierdie naweek teen 'n laaste toets met die reeks al reeds bevestig is. En die tweede deel van die vraag is net, verduidelik vir my, Jacques, wat bedoel julle as julle praat van die DNA van 'n span, meneer? Sê jy vir my dat wat julle in 2019 vermag het, gaan julle weer probeer in 2023? Moet julle nie aanpas by die tyd?
Dus ek gaan begin met die eerste deel. Dit was jou vraag was hierdie 'n geleentheid om juis jou squad se diepte of jou squad bietjie bloot te stel om die squad uit te bou. En my antwoord op dit is dat, luister, ek dink as nommer 1 en 2 teen mekaar speel, Percy, dink ek nie persoonlik, as jy jou land verteenwoordig, is dit die geleentheid om nou te gaan eksperimenteer. Nommer 1 en 2 in die wêreld is seker die grootste toets hierdie jaar, is wanneer nommer 1 en 2 in die wêreld teen mekaar speel nie. So ek dink dis 'n guldige geleentheid om ons spelers wat ons gekies het, die ouens wat die wêreldbeker te wen, aan daai intensiteit van 'n top toets bloot te stel. Want dis nie dit is wat jy dis dieselfde intensiteit as wat jy gaan kry in 'n wêreldbeker finaal. So dit is goed vir ons spelers om blootgestel te word aan dit. Laasweek en die week, jy weet, en want dit gaan sekerlik die grootste toets wees van die jaar, is Saterdag. So ek dink dit is hoekom ons gegaan het met die span wat ons gekies het. Jy weet, jy kry min geleenthede om spelers bloot te stel aan nommer 1 en 2 in die wêreld wat teen mekaar speel. So as jy daai geleentheid kry jy beste spelers om daai wedstryd te speel, dat hulle gewoond raak aan die druk, aan die spoed, aan die intensiteit, aan die fisiesheid van dit, aan hoe akkuraat jy moet wees in jou set pieces en alle departemente. So dit is in terme van ek dink nie dit is 'n ideale geleentheid vir ons om ons beste spelers bloot te stel aan 'n top toetswedstryd. En dan jou ander vraag is, moet ons nie aanpas na 2023 toe nie? Ek sê weer, ek dink waar ons in 2019 was, het vir ons 'n fondasie daar gegooi om 'n wêreldbeker te wen. Ek dink in ons DNA, jy gaan wanneer ons praat van die DNA van 'n span, ons spelers het sekere fisiese eienskappe wat ons in ons squad inkies. Het seker fisiese eienskappe wat beter is as ander lande se fisiese eienskappe. Net soos ander lande weer fisiese eienskappe het wat beter is as ons het. Ons probeer speel na ons fisiese eienskappe wat vir ons spelers wat ons spelers sterker maak, glo ons, as ander lande se. En die ander lande doen weer dieselfde, jy weet, hulle speel weer na hulle sterkpunte toe. So ek dink maar net dit is wat ons bedoel met DNA. Elke span het sy eie sterkpunte en sy swakpunte en jy probeer na jou sterkpunte te speel. Met betrekking tot in die opbou na 2023 toe, ek dink die groot doelwit is om jy speel na jou sterkpunte toe en jy bly werk aan jou sterkpunte en dan in die proses, wanneer jy in die proses, in die opbou na 2023, probeer jy die areas wat jy geïdentifiseer het as moontlike swakpunte, probeer jy stelselmatig beter en beter maak. En dan evolve jy saam met die span, soos wat jy hoe kan ek sê, daai swakpunte verbeter.
Percy, jou laaste vraag aan Handre dan?
Ek sê weer eens baie dankie, Rian. Handre, as die onderkaptein net weer eens, ek luister Saterdag na die wedstryd na afrigter Ian Foster, en hy, in my opinie, maak 'n baie dapper statement. Hy sê, they've got an opportunity to go for a Grand Slam this coming Saturday. So, ek wil gou by die onderkaptein hoor, by Handre Pollard hoor, hoe interpreteer hy daardie stelling gemaak deur Ian Foster?
Percy, eerlikwaar, my eerlike antwoord is, ek steur myself nie aan dit nie, en ek glo die span ook nie. As enigiets gaan dit ons net meer motiveer. Ons is baie intern gefokus, ons fokus baie op wat buite gesê word. Ons fokus op wat ons kan doen, wat ons beter kan doen Saterdag, en ons moet Saterdag die All Blacks kan wen, en dit is al waarop ons gaan fokus.